Hello, everyone. Welcome to Adobe Max. Welcome to the session. We are here with the first takes from the community in graphic design with the amazing Kladi.
Oh, hello, everybody, and welcome and happy Max. Happy Adobe Max to everybody. Happy Max, Julie.
Happy Max. So Kladi is an Italian designer and visual strategist based from Manchester, UK, that's going to show us some amazing first takes in the Creative Cloud apps for 2022. And we're so excited to see what's new in Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, all of these amazing apps that we all use on a daily. So she's going to be sharing the very, very first takes and the new features. And we are so excited. We have Joanna here, we have Lily here, Jennifer, so many amazing people. Yeah, feel free to shoot questions along the way in the chat. And yeah, definitely feel free to be active in the chat. Let us know where you're from. Tracy here is from New Jersey. We have Lindy from Wyoming. Chicago is in the house. Awesome. Let us know where you all are from. Christopher from CA. Great. Kladi, let's jump right into this crunch time. I know you have a lot to say, and so let's just get started.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for the intro, Julia. So happy to be here with you. And as you said, I'm based in Manchester, UK right now, and I know you are in Denver, correct?
Yes,
so we
correct.
are together from the other side of the oceans for Adobe Max, and that's very, very exciting. As Julia said, we're going to run together through the main workflow enhancement in Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, and you'll discover how fast all these wonderful apps are going to make your work and how easy it's going to be work with the app, even easier than before. We're going to jump back here. This is my website, iamkladi.com. You can see all my different sessions after this one here, so you can go ahead and look at the breakout in these coming days. I know that Julia also has a breakout coming up, actually a lab, which is right here, lab L332, but hopefully at the end we're going to be able to talk a little bit more about our session. Right now it's time to jump into the app and make all these wonderful features happen. So I'm going to jump. Yes, I'm going to jump right in, starting from Photoshop. And what I want to show you in Photoshop, I picked, of course, there are so many more features and aspects and enhancement that you're going to discover every time that you open the app. But I've
really quick add-on for everybody who wants to play along with Kladi and experiment, try out these features. Make sure to download the newest version of the CC apps to make sure to be able to access those features.
Yes, absolutely. That's a very fantastic point. So what you want to do is to make sure that you head to your Creative Cloud desktop app, and from there you can search your updates tab, and then from there you can update all the apps. As you can see, I have so many more apps to update. So far I've just updated the one that I'm going to show you. I just want to make sure that I focus on those. And as I said, I'm going to be starting from Photoshop. And what I was saying is that the feature that I've selected are only some of the many wonderful features available now in the Creative Cloud 2022. I'm going to start by the addition of auto select to the object selection tool. So we know already that the object selection tool was brought to us quite recently, and it allows us to drag and create selection. And for those of you who are not familiar with the object selection tool, let me go ahead and zoom in and show you. It's located on the toolbar. I think I zoomed in way too much my computer. It's located on the toolbar, and it looks like two squares. And what we have done in the past is to click and drag in order to select an area, and then have Adobe Sensei looking at the image and select a subject. But as you can probably see now, once we click on the object selection tool, we do have a new option called Object Finder. Now make sure to tick the Object Finder, and that's going to revolutionize the way in which you select images inside your photo. First of all, you can have different options for your selection. In fact, you can can either allow the object finder to auto refresh to analyze the image by itself, or you can actually select a manual refresh, and you can also change the color of the default selection. But most importantly, look what happens. And I'm actually going to go ahead and change the color so we can find something that is a little bit more in contrast here. Maybe we can choose a white, since this image is so bright. So now we do not even have to touch the image. All we have to do is to hover with our mouse on a photo, and you will see that automatically what Adobe Sensei is doing is detecting where the object is located. And all you have to do is to click once on the selection that is most appropriate for the project that you're creating. And as you can see, we already have the marching hands appearing inside our canvas, already making the selection. But the object selection tool is still active with the object finder. And in fact, we will be able to add multiple selection within the same file simply by holding the Shift key. That's what we usually have done in the past as well in order to add more element in your selection. So if we go ahead and click on the Shift and then select the other object. So remember, first of all, go ahead and make sure that we can see the object with whatever is the color that you choose for your selection, and then hold the Shift key and then click in order to add that. As you can see now, we have the marching hands on all these different flowers here. But what if we want to remove a specific area? Let's say that we want to remove this flower at the bottom. Well, all you have to do is to use the Option or Alt key on your machine, and then click and drag to the area that you wish to remove. And here we go, it's removed. So we can still add and remove, and most importantly, Photoshop does the job for us, so it can actually isolate the selection, and they make our job so much easier. What we can do here is then go ahead and apply any sort of transformation or whatever we want to our image. In fact, if we jump into our hue and saturation, we can real quick change the color of some of these roses. So you can see we made some of these roses from orange to red very, very quickly without having to select it. Julie, can you imagine how long it would have taken in the past to just click and drag and make sure that the selection is appropriate? Now you can, all you have to do again is to make sure that you have the object finder with the auto selection, new addition to the object selection tool. And all you have to do is to simply hover on your image in order to create a selection. And as you can see, I can create as many selection as I want. And then, for example, here, now that I've created a new selection, I can go ahead and change the color of these other selection as well.
Adobe Sensei is just so amazing. And for all of you who don't know who Adobe Sensei is, it's this magical person. It's Adobe's AI, artificial intelligence, that helps us out with features like this one. And it's a very intelligent way to approach features like that. And this is the future of things. We see a lot of AI being added to our features, which really makes our workflow so much easier and faster.
Absolutely. And the beauty is that also we can work non-destructively. In fact, as you see, once we created our adjustment layer, then all we have to do here is to simply, select or deselect the little eye icon to toggle visibility between the actual enhancement that we've done, because the selection is already then added into a mask on top of our layer. So we're working non-destructively. If you want to go back to our original photo, here it is there, and we're ready to move on. So that's the very first feature that I wanted to present you. Then I'm going to jump into a special feature, and those are my mom and dad back in the
wow, I love that. I love the hair.
Original photo. I wanted to show you that I'm actually using a real black and white photo
so cool.
From actually 71, July 71 is my mom marks all the photos, and that's a surprise for them. I know that they're watching, so I think they're going to be slightly excited / embarrassed, but I want to show you how easy it is now with the new improved enhanced Colorize filter, how you can improve the way in which you retouch your photos and you allow recolorizing. So we're already familiar from last year to with the wonderful neuro filter. So what I'm going to do here, make sure that I select the original color, and then here, as you can see, that's the final result. I'm just actually going to go ahead and put this layer in the bin because we're going to do it from scratch. So all we have here is the original photo in black and white. Then all we have to do is to head to our filter menu and select Neuro Filter. And from there, the Neuro Filter panel will pop up. All we have to make sure is that we activate the Colorize tool. And as you can see, in one click, it already does a pretty good job. Now, behind my mom dress was just a black dress, but it looks quite red. And the same here, you can see that there is a little bit of this color that is oversaturated pixels. So the blue of my dad's suit almost is pushed to purple and red. Well, in the past, it would have been taken more adjustments. So we'll have to like create a different layer and work with the layer. Well, right now we have a new enhancement on this feature, which is the focal point. So all we have to do is to select the focal point inside the image, and then we can actually, well, first of all, the amazing Adobe Sensei goes, and you can see it's actually pretty much done the job itself already. So all I have to do is to literally point on the focus to make sure that I show where the issues are. And my dad pants are fixed, my mom dress is fixed, everything looks pretty neat already. Here looks like there is a little bit too much blue. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I use that focus. But something else that you can do is to select any of these particular points that had issues. So in this case was the red, and you can actually start to play with the saturation of this area and also with the distribution of cyan and red in order to make sure that you get a more realistic look. And as you can see here, we're losing a little bit of skin tone. I'm just going to move the photo because I see that it's just behind us there on my mom legs. And again, all I have to do is just simply to make sure that I use a pin, and then we can either use a saturation or we can move the color to magenta in order to make sure that we can actually help out with the color translation here from a black and white to a full color photo in just one click. So
this is amazing. This is so cool. I can't wait to experiment with that on my photos as well, because I do have some black and white childhood pictures, which I would love to know how I looked in color.
Yes, absolutely. And my mom and dad always ask me to modify their photo. And as I say, that's the original, actually black and white photo. And in few clicks, less than 3 minutes, we managed to, resume and bring the 70s back. But
yeah,
it's not time
I love that.
to jump into a new feature. Please let me know if you want me to show anything. Again, I'm going fast. There is so much to show. I'm going to jump in another neural filter called the landscape mixer. Now, the landscape mixer is completely brand new addition to the neural filters panel. While the Colorize has the new enhancement with the with the landscape mixers, we actually are diving in a new feature completely. Now, remember, before moving on to the next file, all we have to do here, we can decide if to output the colorization into the same layer, current layer. So you can choose your output, and then whenever you're done, you can press on OK, and you will see that we have a new layer. So we still have the black and white image preserved there, and then we have a new layer with the color. Fantastic. Don't forget to save your file. And now let's jump into the landscape. So this is a photo that I took with my phone. Is here in Chorley, up in North Manchester, lovely reservoir during a walk. And I really love the aspect of it. But what we're allowed to do now with these wonderful creative filters and creative effects is to remix our photo. And that's what the landscape mixer is all about. So let's go back and select filters. And then from there, we're going to go ahead back into our neural filters panel, and we're going to look at the landscape mixer, which, as I said, is a brand new filter. Now, my computer is probably going to take a second, but what the landscape mixer does is that allow you to mix and magically transform one landscape with another landscape by making a fusion of the two elements and really distribute certain attributes from one or the other. So you can use some of these presets. So for example, here we have some green areas of countryside next to a lake. But what if I select this canyon image here from our preset? As you can see, we have a little processing time. That's probably my laptop. I have a lot of files open because I have a lot of things to show you. So we're going to allow it just a second to make sure that it works correctly. And what is going to happen, we're going to see in just a second, is that some of the attributes of this photo that is selected here are going to be transferred into our original photo. So as you can see, we already have our countryside that's actually reflecting the color of the photo that we selected in order to have it remixed. And something else that you can do, which I think is super awesome, is you can add your customized images. So I'm going to go ahead and select an image from my file. I'm going to go ahead and click select an image from computer. And I have another photo, again, that I took this summer. I was in Greece, in Plataria. That's another photo. So how do I mix Greece and north of England together in order to bring a Mediterranean look to the British weather? So that's my goal.
That's awesome. That's what Photoshop is good for also.
Yes. And something that you can do here is which I strongly recommend, especially when you want to select a specific feature. In this case, I really want to take this Mediterranean look of the sunset into Chorley, into Manchester. What I suggest to do is to use the selection here in order to crop and making sure that you really have a selection in order to really define the area that you want to use. Again, it might take a second in order to process the data. And something else that I will also suggest to use is to decide which attributes you want to have a look at when you create such effect. So in this case, for example, I really want to make sure that I bring all that sunset and also that summer vibe. So you can see, for example, if I had choose an image with snow, it would have actually added the snow. So you can actually go ahead and select the different features and the different attributes of the photo that you pick. So not only it remixes the images, but it also allows you more control in the sort of aspect that you want to bring. And here we go. We brought a Mediterranean sunset in north of England. And that's possible thanks to the wonderful landscape mixer, new feature added to the NeuroFilter panel inside Photoshop 2022. Nice.
Hey, so, we are here connected through technology. We're talking together, and now you're even connecting landscapes. How amazing is that? I'm so excited to see what else you want to talk about today.
Julia, you're going to love this new one. Trust me. New one coming up. Okay. I'm sure that it's something that me and you, because we're both Illustrator lovers, that's going to be very, very useful. So again, make sure to decide which output you want to create for these new layers. So again, I always like to choose new layer and then click on OK. So it's nice and easy to see the before and after. And here we go. So we have a Chorley, Greece, a Mediterranean, north of England look. And then we have the original photo there. It's done a fantastic job in just a few clicks. And just imagine like where you can go with your creativity. There are no boundaries to what you can create with these new wonderful features. But let's jump into another feature here. As you can see, all I have is a white canvas. And what I'm going to be showing you here is a revolutionary feature for those of us that use more than one app together. In fact, I'm going to be focusing on interoperability between Illustrator and Photoshop. And let me jump real quick in Illustrator.
Excited for this one.
Yes, as I said, you're absolutely going to love it. This is an illustration that I created a while ago. And if you jump into the layers panel, you can see that we have different layers here with the different illustration. If we press Command Y or Control Y, we can see that everything is a vector as an outline. So we have the different plants, each one in each layer. And then we have the background environment with the little door and the floor and the wall. Fantastic. So I've done a really good job keeping my layers organized. And that's going to work in my favor because look what you can do now by pressing Command A or Control A or simply clicking and dragging over your artwork and then press Command C or Control C to copy. You're copying all the layers and elements that are present inside Illustrator. Now, make sure that your layers are not locked. Otherwise, you'll not be able to lift them up and copy. And then I'm going to head back to my canvas, my white canvas, and I'm just going to do a Command V, a Control V if you're working on Windows, that will allow me to copy. And make sure that you select the layer when you do that. And we have a brand new option. So Smart Objects, Pixels, Path, and Shape Layer is something that we've seen in the past, but layers is actually the new magic feature. And look what's going to happen once I click on OK. So not only Photoshop is going to bring in all the layers that are inside Illustrator and keep them as a vector that we can actually edit. But on top of it, I had a mask. So if you go ahead here and look at the actual floor, it was masked in order to make sure that we add just the portion of the artwork that we needed inside of our of our photo. And let's jump back into Photoshop here. Is actually asking me if to keep the vector mask. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I keep the vector mask as well. And if you look at our layers, we have exactly the same layers, included our mask reflected inside of Photoshop. Isn't that amazing? So we have our plants here that we can move individually, so we can actually use and leverage our Illustrator file to the max in Photoshop. And
you know what I think about that, what I've been missing. So now you can actually go in and apply, let's say, textures and paint on top of those objects without necessarily overpainting or selecting them. So really excited about this one, especially for illustration.
And they're all paths, so they all stays as actual editable path, which is
scalable, right?
Scalable, yeah, an editable path, which is super amazing. But it's now time to jump in Illustrator real quick. There is so much more to cover, and this is just a little preview of what I'm about to show you. 3D is now available in Illustrator. There's been a new UI for the 3D panel. So let me show you how we can do that. That's the final demo. Hopefully we're going to get to that. That's just a logo that I've created actually during one of the Adobe Spark stream last week. So it's just a vector logo right here. And in the past, that 3D panel will look a little bit different from what it looks now. So it's definitely worth it to go ahead and select Effect, 3D and Materials, which is the new panel. And then in this case, we're just going to select Extrude and Bevel. And what that's going to do is just going to bring up our brand new 3D and Materials panel. As you can see, this 3D panel is quite different looking from the other one, much easier to use. We can jump in between extrude or revolving or other effect right here. We also have the opportunity to choose where the light comes from. So we have great control of our 3D effects. And we can also go ahead and choose the color of the light, the intensity, rotation, and so on. Of course, those are the rotation that will apply to our 3D shape. But most importantly, we can access the actual 3D rotation here thanks to this little widget that will allow us to work on the axis. So we can go ahead and move and rotate the image live, just like so. And just simply real quick, change it to whatever you prefer, whatever size you prefer. And you can do that again on top of the image by hovering on it, or you can use the different sliders here. So in this case, those are the sliders for the light. If you're looking to the actual object, we can also change the depth of the object itself, which was pretty much what we would have done in the past. And then you have all the custom rotations here. And if you're looking and wondering where the previous rotation tools were, so for example, isometric, and that's what we used to use in the past, they're still right here. So make sure that you head to the rotation and you will be able to find that right there. So in this case, I'm just going to select isometric left real quick, and then I'm going to make sure that we just get a little bit more control of our depth. But what I want to show you here is now materials are also accessible inside Illustrator. And I'm going to go ahead and choose this marble paint, which, as you can see, will immediately a realistic effect, a realistic textures is applied to our object. And there are so many which are part of the curated gallery that is available for you in Illustrator. I really love all these wooden one, but there is so much. There is marble. There are so many different ones which are so cool to use. And besides playing with the light, you can also be able to play with the shadows as well. So as you can see, I'm going to jump back into the work that are already done. Just to give you an idea, you can rotate and revolve shapes. You can create spheres. And for objects like, when you apply the marble, you can also go ahead and change the actual attributes. Sorry, my window is actually moved out. You can also change the attributes. So in this case, for the marble, what I did, I actually went and changed the color of the marble. And as you can see here, you can choose whatever color you want. And I'm just going to do a live to show you how cool that is. So now I'm going to change all the purple into green, and it's just going to take a second to render. And here it is. So realistic effect available from Substance. You can bring more on from the Substance website. And I think that's just an amazing amazing feature. Real quick, there is the new Discover panel that will allow you to learn how to use Illustrator thanks to in-app tutorial that you'll be able to access in the app. So you can go ahead and discover the new tutorial. I'm going to be creating some of these tutorials as well. So go and check it out. Julia is going to be there as well. So you can have us in the app showing us how to use all these new features. But those are great also for all those of you that are starting from beginners level. They cover all the features of Illustrator. So go ahead and check the new Discover panels. Now, real quick, is worth to mention. Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to mention something real quick. There was a question in chat. Do you have the ability to turn off the 3D filter once you've applied it? And I wanted to dive a little bit more into that. And I have experimented with creating packaging with the 3D tool inside Illustrator, so you can actually create a custom shape, rotate it, so revolve it, and then you can export it as an OBJ file and even go into Stager and mock it up in a realistic 3D scene. So there is no limits. The opportunities are endless here, and it's so amazing. And Kladi is about to show, I think you were about to show the library of materials, or yeah, I can show you real quick, although I'm aware that we have a minute. So substance3d.adobe.com is where you can find a lot of 3D objects.
Packaging materials are there too. So if you're into packaging design, check it out.
What I was about to show is definitely worth a mention, the fact that you can now comment and collaborate and share in Illustrator. So we can go ahead and click on share, and you can share your document with anybody, clients, friends, anybody, even if they do not have an Adobe ID or they don't have the Creative Cloud, they will be able to dive in and create a comment inside a web browser. So as you can see, once you send an email, and you can, you'll be able to just view and then comment it by using a pencil. So, you can just point out and also write whatever you want. So edit, any edit, so you can comment it and share it together in order to enhance the workflow. But most important is that once you do that, all of these different comments are going to appear right away. Well, probably would take a minute inside your Illustrator, and then you can resolve it and you can keep working and stay focused on your creation while you maintain the networking and communication with your clients and stakeholders. And
wow.
Time to go.
Wow. I don't know. Yeah, time to go, Kladi. Amazing. So many things. And I think we can elaborate so much longer on this. Join us for the session on Thursday, another first takes in Illustrator, talking more about 3D and Illustrator packaging, branding, all that kind of stuff. Make sure to check out the other events on Adobe Max. Thank you so much, Kladi. Thank you so much, everybody who joined us today. And
thank you so much. And happy Max. Bye, everybody.
Happy Max. Bye.